All right, let's get started. So welcome to day 2 of the Abundance Challenge. Can you reflect a little bit on this picture that you see on the screen? Can you reflect a little bit on that and then tell me what you think? Okay, so this is 2 signposts. One says water 9 kilometers away, and then the other one says H2O 50 meters away. And I was fascinated when I saw this cartoon that knowledge is power. The more you learn, the better you will be able to make decisions about the direction of your life. And I just thought how apt in terms of what we are doing this evening. Knowledge is power. Okay, so there is water. So what you see as water, there is something as H2O. This other one says water is just 50 meters away, and the other one says 20 meters away. Okay, as usual, just to remind us of our objectives, how this abundance is panning out. There are 3 major things that we are doing here. The first one is to get awareness of where we are in relation to abundance, and particularly in relation to our purpose on earth. Because when we talk about abundance, I'm sure by now we're not talking about these politicians or people who spray money and display ostentation at parties. We're not talking about people who who make money from questionable need. We're not talking about people whose source of wealth cannot be traced or identified. We're talking about just having that natural, God-given abundance to fulfill the purpose that you're here for. Okay, so where are you in relationship to your purpose? Where could you be? And then how do you get there? So my task is to help you to know exactly how to get there, to experience abundance. And then the most exciting thing about it is that I am exactly on the same journey. And I have learned quite a lot, that work that I'll be sharing with you. So take a look at what you have on the screen as well. Just take a moment and read what you see there. Have you seen anything like this, any ad like this anywhere in the social media, on flyers, on the streets? Just type yes if you've seen something like this, if you've seen this kind of ad anywhere in Nigeria. Okay, so I want to know how many people have seen something like this. Just type yes if you have. If you haven't, say no. Okay, so Yvonne says plenty of them. Okay. Okay. So it looks to me, oh, okay, they sponsored the post. I didn't even know that. Just take a look at all the yeses on the chart, and just this shows you a little bit of the temperature of our society now. So this +233 is Ghana. I have an office in Ghana, so when I go to Ghana, I see a lot of this. And then this is also a lot in Nigeria. In fact, in the city where I am right now, I was jogging the other day, I saw something like this. Somebody pasted on a tree along the road. Okay, so instant money, pocket no dry, hot money, money rituals, promotion in the office, all the way to police case, court case, love by work management, examination log, sex power, low sperm count, all kinds of things. You get that. Of course, this is one of the Nigerian versions. You can cry to Ugidi, the spirit of Ubiodi shrine, for spiritual help. Say call Baba for help. Okay. And then, of course, you have all these other ones, money rituals. This one even has a value proposition without human blood. Work of leadership, instant money, lotto number, marriage problems, instant solutions to all these problems. And then, of course, this one, you remember the story about the young 17-year-old in Ogun State, who killed his girlfriend for money rituals. And then this is what they do. I read an article somewhere that today alone, I mean, every day like today, like in Ogun State, 2 girls have been murdered for ritual. So Gandhi's 7 deadly sins, I never seen it before. I just saw it sometime today. It's about wealth without work. And if you look at all these things they put here, it's just really very interesting because that's what's going on in our country. Wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, science without humanity, knowledge without character. Some of you may have seen the viral video about lawyers who had their MBA meeting in Abuja, and they were fighting over conference bags, low quality conference bags. I don't know if anybody saw the video today. Knowledge without character. A lot of people graduate from the university. In those days, we were giving degrees. When they were awarding us our degrees, like I graduated in 1988, and then the sentence was something like, the Senate of this university haven't found us worthy in character and learning. Now, what does this degree? So there were 2 things, character and learning. But so today, there's even neither learning nor character, politics without principle, commerce without morality, worship without sacrifice. Now, look at that verse 11. I just made a screen capture of that passage. It says, as a partridge that broods but does not hatch, so is he who gets riches, but not by right. It will leave him in the midst of his days, and at his end, he will be a fool. And then if you look around you in your villages, in your community, you see that this is actually very true. So people do all these things. They all of a sudden instantly become wealthy, and you don't know exactly the source of all this wealth. But then you follow those people over the years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it normally doesn't end. But yet people go to repeat the same mistake. So the essence of that, all that introduction, is that we are now going to talk about how to solve financial problems. So we're going to build on what we did yesterday, and then we're going to look at how to solve financial problems for the employee, for the startup, people here who want to start up their business, and then for those who have established businesses. So these 3 categories of people. So if you're in employment currently, or you want to start a business or a startup, or you're an established business, there's a lot for you today. I often feel that the reason all these ads for unorthodox ways to make money are increasing in our society is partly because people don't know how to solve financial problems. We were really never taught. It is not an excuse. It is an explanation, but it's not an excuse, for doing wrong. But I think that when you look at children growing up, the family never taught children how to solve financial problems. The school never taught. The places of worship where people go never teach people how to solve financial problems. The only thing that they talk about is to pray, but people don't ask themselves, okay, so we've been praying, we've been waiting on God, we've been fasting. Why is it that I still have these financial problems? So we are going to take some time and look at how to solve financial problems in our business, in our employment, in our individual lives. But we're going to do something very exciting for a start. So we're going to go into breakout rooms. So I'm going to send you into breakout rooms. Maybe, let me see how many of us are here. There are actually 85 people who signed up for this. I see 50 people here. I'm going to send you into a room. I think 4 or 5 of you in one room. And then I want all of you to take turns, okay? I want all of you to take turns, take 1 to 2 minutes, just share. Because there's a lot of power in community learning, in group learning, when we can share from each other. So sometimes what you share becomes something that brings the breakthrough to the person, to the people in your own group, much more than even what I say, myself, who is leading the meeting. So we're going to afford ourselves that opportunity. We're going to take some 10 minutes and then we come back and then debrief what you heard. So you're going to talk about what one belief or behavior will you let go in order to experience reckless abundance in your life. So basically, the reflection that you already feel, you just want to share a summary. And then the person with the longest hair in your group should lead the meeting. So in a moment, you're going to see a prompt. Okay, good. All right. So just accept and join one of the breakout. Okay, some of you are not in the breakout rooms yet. Did you see the buttons? Let's see. Okay. Sign to 4. Okay.
I've seen Precious and I'm seeing Amarachi, right?
Hi,
And I'm
Ma'am
seeing Obi.
Sylvia.
Yeah, my name is Sylvia. So I think mine is procrastination. Like
Wow.
sometimes yes,
Oh my
procrastination and
God.
also punctuality. Like I don't know how to like I'll say there's two time. There's two time.
Okay.
Let me just yeah. I think I still fall under procrastination. Like I procrastinate a lot. Then
Mm.
um sometimes sometimes if I want to do something, when I even see I feel overwhelmed, kind of like I feel I need different because I'm a perfectionist. I like everything in order. Like yeah. So I sometimes I just feel I still need a lot of things in order to launch out, like do what I'm supposed to do. Like everything should just be in order the way it is in my head. I need it that way, like be like let every single thing be ready. So I sometimes I don't now get to do it because I think I didn't get needed help, or maybe I don't have enough to start wherever. So sometimes I just let go of it.
Is there, or 9 different cells. So I find that I tend to think and think and think. I try to analyze it. How is it going to be? Try to feel it. And my actions always comes last. So I know I need to drop that. And then the second one I tend to think is, everyone else is already doing it. They probably don't need my inputs. What I have to say is probably not that important to everyone. So why bother? So these are the two major habits or thinking patterns that I'm really becoming proactive about dropping, especially with this 5-day challenge that we have embarked on, and making it a point of action to drop these. So who goes next?
Okay, I want to go next. Okay, from what we were taught yesterday. Sorry, my name is Noyenwafo. Yeah, I think my major issue, because I joined a lot of courses, a lot of classes, I read a lot. I pick up a lot of info, knowledge here and there, but I don't get to practice. I don't get to put them into action. In fact, most of the time when you get to the point of, okay, this is the way I should do this thing to improve my sales, of the week to implement it. One of the things I picked yesterday was practice, practice, practice. Learn to put into action what you have learned.
Things I'm taking out from here is to be, one of the things I'm taking out of here is to be more intentional in my pursuit of abundance. Okay, that's one. And then secondly, I will need to work very hard on my beliefs about abundance. For instance, today, I thought so much about abundance from what we took out from yesterday's meeting, that this universe should actually be called abundance. It makes so much sense to me. So I'm going to work on my beliefs seriously about abundance. Just like today, I spoke so much to myself that that lack is a lie in the midst of the abundance called universe. That's it from me. Thank you. Over.
Who is sharing? What did you hear that was very useful from your colleagues in the room? All
Hi,
right.
good evening, sir.
Okay. Mwamaka Udeni.
Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, please, can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
All the others, meet yourself until I ask you. Maureen, please, could you meet yourself? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mwamaka.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So from our breakout section, I heard we actually 5 in our breakout section, and each of us shared different view. So the first speaker, that's Chika Okeke, in our breakout section, talked about how he needs to unlearn, because he participated in a class. Like, talked about for abundance that you need to unlearn some certain things due to some mindset we had growing up about money and finances. Then the second person, Sharon Precious, she said for her that what is stopping her is actually laziness and procrastination, that she needs to let this go for her to be able to experience the kind of abundance she wants. Then we had the third speaker, Emmanuel Eze. Emmanuel actually spoke about investing, that his mindset growing up is, he focuses more on saving money to use it to achieve projects than investing. But now that he needs to start learning how to invest instead of, saving. So we have the fourth person, Baba Oyewole. So he spoke about, that you have to trust yourself and learn to take more action, or learning to take more action and do this, like, again and again, to be able to access abundance. Then I talked about that what I need to let go is to be able to take decisions. At times I'm slow to take those decisions because I keep analyzing and analyzing. So these are just few points from our breakout section then before the time was up. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, Glory, were you in the same room? Glory, I see your hand raised. You can unmute yourself. Were you in the same room with Wamaka? Glory, can unmute yourself and share. Glory. All right. We can't hear you. You're not unmuted. Okay, Glory. Just briefly.
Yes, sir.
Just take a minute. Tell us what you heard in the room. Yep.
Okay. In the room, when I was speaking, like, I kind of said that I don't really think I have anything, but I'm open.
Sorry, Glory, your audio is not very good. We don't hear you very well. So maybe you can mute for now. Let's hope it gets better. Let's take Esther. Sorry, Glory, your audio is not very good. We don't hear you very well. Esther, what room were you? Yep, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Okay, so for our group, one of the things that we noticed was that every one of us in the group felt that we had similarities in the things that were holding us back. And then we went into it individually. Yeah, they were individually different, unique to each of us, but they were quite similar. And one of it was the fact that we felt that we do not have the time to invest in becoming, to achieving reckless abundance. So that's one of the things we are looking at. Can we stop being distracted? Can we follow through? Can we keep at it until we get it? And can we drop the smaller things and go for the bigger things? Or can we delegate smaller tasks so we can focus on bigger tasks? And then one more major thing that was shared was we need to meditate on how much abundance is in the universe. One of our members spoke about how he had started talking to himself about how abundance is everywhere. And I took that away from there. I'm going to start doing that. And it was good. It was good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so Victor. Victor, yes, let's hear from your room.
Okay. Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
So from my room, we had three.
Victor, there's an echo. There's an echo in your room. We can't hear. Maybe there's another system that is on. We can't hear you very well. There's an echo. All right. While you correct that.
So can you hear me now? I think it's fine.
Okay, it's much better. Thank you.
So there are three opinions from my group. And the first is the inconsistencies, starting up a thing and following through. So, there is some degree of mastery and, success. So that's one. And then secondly, someone needed to conquer the ability to say no. Maybe you're on a task or on something, and then there are distractions here and there. So that tendency to, want to listen to what people are saying, and then that distraction. And then finally, someone needed to conquer that myth that there is scarcity, and then begin to focus his mind on the fact that there is abundance, that scarcity is a lie.
Awesome.
So these are the three major opinions from my group. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's take the last one for now. Thanks, Victor. Priska, we see your hand up.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir.
Hello, Priska.
Okay, I hope my audio is good. Okay. From our own group, what we talked about was actually diverse, and I believe we all learned from one another. So I'm just going to mention in the sequentially how we went about it. So is the one name.
Okay, no, just give us like top two, top three.
Okay. Okay, so well, I think integrally we decided that there's no need to have a lack mentality. There's enough, there's abundance. So then one of us actually mentioned that trusting people has put him. I don't know if it is, this is what you asked us to do, but I think it's very, very, it's worth checking out, or it's worth advising us generally on. He said he has been putting people before himself, including his finances, even when he needs money to carry out his what he needed to do with money, his businesses. He tends to put people before himself and give them his finances. Then one of us also said that the belief, I mean, she already know about this abundance, the concept of abundance, but she now needs to now have been deliberate about putting it into practice. So she needs to put it into practice now, and the belief that she has to do so many things to achieve abundance. She wants to let go of that belief that you don't need to do so many things before you can achieve abundance.
Awesome.
You know, then I think we all agree that we should let go of the lack mentality and embrace the mindset that there is reckless abundance available. Absolutely. And dreaming, there's nothing like dreaming too big, you know, because the universe is big enough and can provide enough abundance for us to, you know, to be able to meet up whatever dream that we dream of. So I think generally that's what. Okay, there's something that is very, very key here. I would like to also mention. One of us said that he has been limited by his mentor's growth, where he feels that he put a kind of a threshold where his mentors grows to. So if he sees himself, you know, aspiring more than his mentors, he feels that he is dreaming too much. You know, so he needs to let go of that mentality and you know, embrace abundance regardless of whose dream he's benchmarking his to.
Okay, awesome.
That's about it.
That is so wonderful. On a scale of 1 to 10, how useful was that? Just listening to yourselves, you know, in this shared experience, you know, just type in the chat. The scale of 1 to 10, how useful was that for you? You know, just listening to each other, you know, just sharing this journey with another person. Okay, awesome. All right, so I can see that. Wow, good. Okay, good. So that was pretty useful. So we'll do little bit more of that. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. And then let's share that. Okay, so let's get on with how to solve financial problems. What you see on the screen, for some of you who know my story or you read it in the newspapers, this was the Dana crash of June 2012, and my name was originally in this manifest. My name was in the manifest and display. But some of you who may have read the story of what happened and how I escaped this, I wouldn't be here today if not for what had actually happened. You know, just one little act of, one little act of fortune. And but then as I meditated on what happened here, of course, I felt very mournful and very sad for losing some of my friends and colleagues. We went to do some work in Abuja, and then we split ourselves, and then they came in, and I was supposed to come later. That was how I missed it, and I felt terrible. Still feel very terrible about that incident. But the other thing that was actually more important for me was that I kept thinking that if I had gone on that day in June, that I would have left my wife and my children in such a terrible situation. As I thought about it, I wasn't ready. There's a concept in the scripture that talks about preparing your house, getting your house in order. And then getting the house in order is not just for people who are already old in their 70s and 80s. Getting your house in order involves everybody, whether you're a teenager or a young person, and then you have consciousness, and so I had felt that the worst thing that I would have done, for my loved ones, was to leave them in debt. There was so much debt I was carrying. We didn't have a house, so they would have been renting. The children were still very, like in the middle of their schooling and education. There was just no way that it would have been very easy for my wife to carry it through. So I want every one of us to make it our goal and our desire that we would not transfer lack from one generation to the other, that we are going to leave the next generation much better than our own. We're going to set them up to succeed so that they don't have to start all over and keep going in circles. And then sometimes it's so bad that people actually die leaving their family in debt. There was a case, very, very strange case of a man who died a couple of years ago, but he was owing so much money. And the people he was owing interrupted the funeral and refused that he should be put in the grave until he paid the debt. That was really very sad thing. So we should never find ourselves in that kind of situation. So that's why it's important that we become intentional about solving our money problems, that we own it. We just don't wait for it to solve itself. So now, there are three types of money problems, okay? There are three types of money problems from my own experience and from the experience of thousands of people that I've helped in this journey. The first one is the survival money challenges, okay? Just like its name is, there are people who are on the survival mode, just basically to keep themselves physiologically constituted. It's a challenge every day, what to eat, what to wear, transporting themselves. And then for some of us who have lived in Lagos, you see so much struggle in Lagos. Sometimes there's just so much struggle that people even forget why they started struggling in the first instance. So it's a life on edge. So survival money problems, just to survive, to be safe, just to have food to eat, just to have money to pay your bills. For a lot of people, every end of month is always a very big problem. Or whenever it is time and rent is due, it's always a very big problem. When the children are about to go to school, go back to school after holidays, it's always a very big problem. So this is survival money challenge. Money is never enough for the things that need to be done in the family. Okay. Now, the second level of money problems is the sustenance money challenges. So you've attained a measure of financial stability, for your family, but you still have challenges in maintaining that lifestyle, in paying for health, in paying for insurance, in maintaining that lifestyle and that brand that you have built. Okay, so that one, you're no longer on survival. You can find food to eat, you can find something to wear, you have a house, you have a roof under your head, but you see, the house needs to be maintained, your lifestyle has to be maintained, the family has to be sustained. So the money challenges at this level are such that if they are not addressed, it can step you down back to survival. So sometimes you find people who are having sustenance money challenges, and if they don't solve it, they demodulate, back to survival money. But then the third money problem, which is a very good one, it's actually a very good problem. And that's really where all of us should aspire to be. The growth money challenges are the money challenges that involve how do you muster the resources and the funds to fund your growth, to fund your next level. So at this time, you're actually working on legacy problems. You're working on, things that are beyond you. You're working on self-actualization. You're working on, just growth. So it's no longer about just maintaining your lifestyle. It's no longer about just surviving. But now you're thinking about how do you grow? How do you grow others? How do you grow your impact? How do you grow your purpose? Or if you're a business owner, you're looking at how do you scale and how do you fund the scaling of your business? Because if your business has been at the same level that it has been for 5, 10 years, it starts becoming boring. So you find growth money challenges, the challenges that you need to solve in order to grow your business or to grow your purpose or to grow your impact in the world. So these are the basic money problems. Now, here are some common shortcuts that people use for solving money problems. You already saw some of them. Okay, so here in this part of the world, we rely so much on miracles. So we have places we go, they call solution mountains, or we go to camp, or we go to conferences that, places of worship invite us to, and they have all kinds of catchphrases, for their programs, church programs. There was one I saw a couple of years ago somewhere in Onisha, and it says, "This nonsense must stop." Okay. And but if you are really honest to yourselves, miracles are sometimes they can just be very short-term solutions to financial problems if they do happen, but they are not really very sustained. Of course, money rituals, and some people also believe that, once they travel abroad, their problems will be solved. And then there's the get-rich-quick schemes, because sometimes you're under such financial pressure, and then somebody just comes in town and says, there's this money-making opportunity. If you join, and do this and do this and do this, you will become very, very wealthy. And so people join, and then they get disillusioned after some time because it's not another way. There is a Yahoo. There is politics. I find in some parts of the country, everybody just waits for political cycle when elections are going on, and then when politicians are going to be dropping some change, and then they are printing flyers and they are joining in campaign and things like that. Okay, then emergency prostitution. Please mute yourself. I can hear somebody talking at the background. Emergency prostitution. One young lady in Benin reached out. She was owing so much money. Co-host, please, can you mute everybody and mute the person talking? Please mute your microphone. Thank you. Okay, so this young lady was owing lots of money. She was an official in a fellowship, in a church fellowship. She was an official. She was a person. She was a treasurer keeping their money. And then, for some reason, she was helping herself with the money until it really became hundreds of thousands of naira. And then she reached out in panic, and then she said that she was going to sleep with a man, that she was considering going to sleep with a man so that she can pay off her debt. There are all kinds of things people use. People take on loans that they don't intend to pay back, or they take loans that they know that they can't pay back. They're just not willing to pay. They just take loans. So people use all kinds of shortcuts, but these things are not sustainable. They don't work. The best way to solve money problems is to attack them from the root. And this is very intuitive, because if you don't attack it from the root, money problems seem to be so persistent. You wake up with them. You can solve it today, or it appears to be solved, but tomorrow it shows itself. So the best way to solve money problems, make that note, is to attack money problems from its foundation, to uproot it. Okay, so if you cut a tree and leave the roots there, and you don't kill the roots, before you know it, the flowers come again, and then the branches and all that. So what are the root causes of money problems? There are 3 major root causes of money problems. And then remember yesterday, we started talking about foundations and why it is very important to always look at foundational principles and then right practice. The root causes of money problems. Number 1, there's not enough money, not enough income. You don't have enough income coming into your life, coming into your house, coming into your bank account. That's a root cause of many financial problems. The second one is low financial literacy. When I started working with Shell in the 90s, there were places in Port Harcourt that were selling for, believe it or not, 20,000 naira a plot, 25,000 naira a plot. But I was a complete financially illiterate because I read science, and then throughout the time in school, there was no place they could have taught me about investing, about stock market, about money. I didn't know. I was financially illiterate, and the money was just coming, it was going. And could you imagine if at that time I had the financial literacy to buy real estate, buy some landed property like 50 to 100 plots? Those same places in Port Harcourt that were going for 20,000, 25,000 naira in those days, many of them go for 10 million, 15 million today, 9 million naira today. So, but I wasn't financially literate. And then by the time I started growing in financial literacy, the year I started growing in financial literacy, it took 3 books. It took 3 books to do it for me. And one of them was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. The other one was The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. And then the other one had to do with whether it was Charles Hannell, or Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill. And within 1 year, I made a turnover in the stock market investments of 66 million that I didn't know. That was in those, I didn't know where it came from. Just 1 year. So many times the transformation in your finance and abundance is not really time. It is just a mental shift. It doesn't necessarily have to take like 5-10 years to turn your situation around as we are speaking right now. All it takes is just that mental shift. And then the third root cause of money problem is soul poverty. Okay, so actually, I have some slides to illustrate that. So there's not enough money. For some of us who read David Copperfield, you remember this quote by Charles Dickens. Annual income, 20 pounds, annual expenditure, 19 and 6, result happiness. Annual income, 20 pounds, annual expenditure, 20 pounds, ought and 6, result misery. To put it back in our own language, you earn, in the year, you earn 1.2 million naira. Okay, that's 100,000 naira a month. So you earn 1.2 million naira. Okay, are there even salaries of 1.2 million in this economy? That's too low, because 1.2 million, 100,000 naira is like how many dollars? About 100, not up to $200. So that's like 1.2 million is like $2,400 in the year. It's terrible. So now, if you earn 1.2 million in the year, but your expenses are 2.2 million, okay, 2 million, you earn 1.2, your expenses are 2 million. Including all the ash showcase, all the ashwebis, all the burial ceremonies, all the wedding attendances, all the whatever, school fees, house bills, and all that. You know, if you earn 1.2, but you are spending 2 million, that is serious stress. Okay, I was looking at some of your reflections on yesterday, and then I asked you the question, what would it feel like, you know, for you to never worry about money again for the rest of your life? And then someone actually said, yeah, it's going to be, it will feel very exciting. And he said that his blood pressure will come down. And so one of the ways to get your blood pressure haywire is spend more in the year than you bring in. Okay, so not enough is a cause of money problems. Of course, when it comes to low financial literacy, one of these scriptures that hit me, that slapped me in the face a couple of years ago, of what uses money in the hand of a fool, since he has no intention of acquiring wisdom. The hidden secret here, and I hope you don't miss this, because a lot of business owners miss it, a lot of people, you know, salaried employees, they miss the secret here. The purpose of money, the primary purpose of money, is to acquire wisdom, not to buy food. And so a lot of money problems people have relate to the fact that they are not spending money in acquiring wisdom. Because it's the wisdom you acquire from the money you have that will multiply that money. Therefore, money that has no wisdom tied to it doesn't grow. It's not multiplying. So it perpetuates lack, you know, poverty. Sleep with this scripture of what uses money in the hand of a fool, since he has no intention of acquiring wisdom. I'm going to come back to this scripture much later. Then in terms of soul poverty, John wrote that, I pray that you may prosper in all things. How many things? Please participate with me again. It's been a long time I saw something in the chat. How many things? That you may prosper in how many things? Type in the chat. I'm taking a look. All things, all things. All things mean all things. All things in Greek means all things. All things in Yoruba, in Hausa, in Efik mean all things. And be in health. You see, but this is where we miss the whole thing. This is where we miss the whole gist, essence of this verse. He said, just as your soul prospers, just as your soul prospers. So your prosperity, your abundance, your financial growth will always be in alignment with how much your soul is prospering. So the prosperity of your soul is causative to abundance, meaning if you want to prosper, you don't go running after prosperity. You go focusing on the prosperity of your soul, and then the prosperity physically will automatically manifest. So what is soul poverty? Some of the signs of soul poverty is lack of forgiveness. You know, so when I go to work with some of my big clients, you know, the multinationals you hear about and things like that, and I go to work with them and then we're having retreats. These are the things that focus on.
Put on the table.
So these are the things that I focus on, because if you don't work, you know, you're a human being. We have 6 human faculties. Okay, we have our 6 human faculties. And so if all these faculties are not working, let me see if I can remember them offhand. Okay, so there's a faculty of imagination. All right, there's faculty of imagination. There's a faculty of memory. So you can imagine waking up every day and having to remember everything all over, how to brush your teeth, how to put on your clothes and all that. Life would be horrible. So there's memory. There's a faculty of the will. Okay, there's a faculty of the will. Nothing moves in your life until the will is activated. Prodigal son said, I will arise. So the only time, see, that's why nothing changes in your life until you change. So the will is a faculty of the intellect. There's a faculty of the emotions. And then there's one more, there's faculty of the conscience. Anytime any of these faculties is not working, it shows up in everything. It shows up in your finances. It shows up in your marriage. It shows up in the way you show up in life. And so a lot of people just pick work or career and they focus on developing their career, but they're not developing their character. They're not developing their imagination. They're not developing their conscience. They're not paying attention to their conscience. They're not developing their emotions. And so you're developing just one thing, your career or your business, but you're not paying attention to this. And so your soul is not prospering. Because if you carry lack of forgiveness, now this is not a religious thing. Like I've told you, I'm not religious. I used to be. But now I'm more of a kingdom citizen. You know, I follow God like he's my king and part of his kingdom. You can do all these things, but if you can't forgive, in fact, it says clearly that neither will your heavenly Father forgive you. Can you imagine? You're running a business. You're trying to be promoted in where you're working, but you're carrying unforgiveness in your heart. And then God says he can't forgive you. And so many people don't know why they're not doing well. Many years ago, while I was still a student, you know, we had an outreach at Nembe particularly. So I led the student outreach, missions outreach there. And then when it was time for prayer, we're praying for people in the praying line. And then one woman came. She'd been married for 7 years. And her husband was also there. She came in the line and she wanted me to pray for her for the fruit of the womb. And then the Holy Spirit told me clearly, I heard it clearly. So as I was about to pray, I said, don't pray for her. I said, don't pray for her. Tell her to go back and to reconcile with her husband. And I just said that. When I said it, she went and started crying because it's like she knew what exactly it was. So lack of forgiveness in your heart can create poverty in your pocket. So your soul must prosper. And then soul prosperity involves things like love, gentleness, kindness. Because if you're unkind, your soul is not prospering. You know, faithfulness. Can you be trusted in your word? Are you faithful? If you tell people something, if you say, I'm coming at 12, do you get there at 12? Or do you get there at 5 minutes or 10 minutes past 12? And then, you know, so your soul must prosper for your pocket to prosper. So do you have bitterness in your heart? You've got to deal with it because it's killing your finances. Lack of forgiveness, strife, all these things, you know, strife. And then you are hiding a lie or you are living in hypocrisy. You are not what you tell people you are. That's not so prosperity. It's going to affect your abundance, the flow of abundance. Or things never leave your hand, or you are greedy and things never leave your hand too. You know, you don't give out to other people, your soul doesn't prosper. So this is critical because a lot of people don't relate their money problems to these things. And because if you don't know the root causes, you won't know how to solve them. So now that we've talked about the root causes, let's talk about how to solve them. First of all, you must be very, very willing and intentional and determined to solve your money problems by yourself without shortcuts. You know, you must be willing. See, financial problems sometimes are not, you know, like our people would call moi moi, because these things have their root, you know, from many, many years before this time. Some believe, some whatever, these root causes we talked about. And so many times it's not solved overnight. Therefore, you must be really intentional. Breaking generational lack, generational poverty is not something that happens overnight. And then you really, really want to be intentional about breaking generational poverty. Yeah, so you came from a poor family, but you should be the full stop to lack and poverty in your family. You should be the full stop. The generations, you know, from you should be, you know, much better. Okay, so number two about solving money problems. You need to understand the fundamentals of money. Always go back to fundamentals, because to solve any problem, like I told you yesterday, always look at the fundamentals and then look at the way you're practicing those fundamentals. So there are 12 money fundamentals. We will not go through all of them today, but we are going to be applying them, in subsequent days. Like tomorrow, we are going to look at how to identify profitable business opportunities, both for startups, for existing businesses in the room, and then for individuals. So let me just breeze through them. Number one, money is good. Money is good. And you've got to make up your mind that money is good. Because we have had this erroneous misinterpretation or sometimes misrepresentation of the scripture that the love of money is the root of all evil. It didn't say that money is the root of all evil. The love of money that is the root of all evil. Okay, so money is good, fundamentally good. Number two, your mind is your personal money thermostat. You can never earn more money than your self-esteem. Please make a note of that. You can never make more money than your self-esteem. You can't make 1 billion naira from a 1 million naira self-esteem. Okay, so if you don't see yourself as someone who operates at that level, you cannot make it. It can come. You see, that's why if you distribute all the money in the world today, take the money from Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, all this, and then you share it equally to the 8 billion people in the world today, what would happen is that within a short time, if not 1 to 2 years, all that money will be back in the same hands. So for people who are talking about, equality of income and things like that, if you share the money equally, within a very short period, all that money will be back in the same hands. Number three, money is not value. Listen very, very carefully. What I'm showing you here came from years of working with people, years of studying my own life and how things have gone, and years of just meditating on these issues. They are not things you'll find in any textbook. Money is not value. Money is a placeholder for value. So people make the biggest mistake of going to pursue that piece of paper. And then they call this, they've taken my money. The people in my house. So money is not that piece of paper, okay? It's not that piece of paper. So because people think that the money is the value in itself, they run after that piece of paper and they've killed because of that piece of paper and things like that. So money is a placeholder for value. So that's why in your basic economics, money was defined as a medium of exchange. It is a medium of exchange. So it could be dollars, it could be cowries. At some point, it could be bitcoins, it could be whatever. It's not that, it's not the value, it is a placeholder for value. You see how significant this is when we begin to apply these fundamentals. Number four, money is an effect. It's not a cause. Therefore, you don't go pursuing money, trying to make more money. You set up the cause. Because once you plant the cause, the effect is almost automatic. Number five, all the money you ever want is locked up in people's problems. This is a fundamental of money. All the money in the universe is locked up. If there is like a vault where it's kept, the name of that vault is problems, people's problems. Number six, therefore, solving problems and serving people is the root of wealth. So the only way to get that money out of the pockets of the people is to solve their problems and to serve them. Jesus said, if you want to be great in the kingdom, learn to be the servant of all. And then the amount of wealth that you will ever make is going to be proportional to the number of people that you serve. So you look at your sister, all around you, you're either carrying something, a chip made by, what is the chip company, the most, whatever, or you're having a product made by Apple or Microsoft or something, on you somewhere, You're having something that belongs to them somewhere. So they are serving billions of people all over the world. And that's why they have so much money. Number 7, selling. Selling costs money. Selling costs money. If you want money to drop, selling must happen. So for those people who don't like selling, here's the good news. You have to make peace with selling. And I think that selling has been so misrepresented that people think that selling means, to cheat people and all that, but selling is actually serving. Number 8, money is at the intersection of that value and selling. So you've got value, and then somebody has the money to exchange for the value, and then in between, selling has to happen. Number 9, every piece of cash in your hand has 2 parts, bread and seed. So in Isaiah, God says that he gives bread to the eater and seed to the sower. But what happens? We all consume everything as bread. And we wonder, when you eat your seed, you're done for. And then when I say seed, I've already talked about seed yesterday, because seed has been misrepresented, especially in religious circles, to just mean money. So when they say seed, sow seed, and people think it's money. Yeah, that's part of it. But that's a very tiny part of what seed is. I told you what the seed was yesterday. Okay? No person can get rich unless another shows him or her incredible. This was told me by my 82-year-old mentor from nowhere. I was taking a walk with him. He just said, look, Obo, nobody can get rich until another person shows him. I hope we have time to talk about this. But you see, like what I'm doing right now, I've never done before. I think, of course, many of you who know my programs, I've never run this 5,000 naira, Some of my clients, I saw some of you here, we see from MTN, and then a couple of you from different companies. And of course, Jamila from Credit Registry is also here. I don't do this. But do you know, it was somebody who showed me and told me and showed me why I should do this. And when I started doing that, I didn't know how to. So I called a young man because I never knew how to actually create a sales page. But somebody did it. And I said, okay, I can spend months trying to create a sales page, or I just talk to somebody who does it. I'm paying. So I called that young man up and said, how much would you give me for 1 hour of your time, to do a sales page? And the guy said 60,000 naira. I wired the money to him. And then here we are. I had a sales page. And then for the first time, I did this. 85 of you have come into this program. Somebody showed me, and somebody is still showing me. So right now, I've also paid a gentleman $10,000 to show me. I have paid $20,000 to some people. I have paid. And then for some of you in business here, let me tell you this secret. If you've been following me on social media, you probably have seen it once or twice, or a couple of times in my post. When I left Shell and started consulting, and I was billing people $10,000, $5,000, nobody listened to me. Nobody. So for years, I'm telling you, for years, I was broke. People were resisting. Nobody was paying me that kind of money. But something very strange happened. I now subscribe to the program of another coach. And I paid $7,000 to Robert Kiyosaki. I paid $20,000 to Internet Market IMC. I paid, there was a gentleman at some point I was paying, was it like $500 a week? I've paid thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for people to show me the way. So you are listening to me today, you love it. And then for those of you I've worked for, you love it, and the transformation is incredible. But people showed me and I paid for it. People showed me. So nobody gets rich until another person shows him or her. If you are not ready to pay for knowledge and pay for coaching, pay for mentorship, it is a long night when it comes to abundance. I can guarantee you that one. It's a principle of money. Number 10, generosity is the fertilizer of abundance. I don't have time to give you my stories. But see, random acts of kindness, generosity, you see, don't pass by an opportunity to be generous, because that's actually what's opening. I don't understand how it works. I do not know how it works. Couple of years while I was still in Shell, one of our neighbors' children was out of school, you know, and I saw her roaming around the streets, you know, for 1 month after school resumed. So I called her one day, I think her name was Precious or something. I said, why are you not in school? What happened? And then she said that they didn't have the school fees, that they couldn't pay school fees. That was in Lagos. So I called the mother because the father was hustling abroad, just a neighbor. We're not related. I don't know them. We're not related. So I called the mother and said, how much is the school fee? She told me, and I spoke with my wife, and then the very next day we gave them the money, and the girl went back to school, never knowing that I was going to get in situations where I wouldn't be able to pay school fees for my children. And then that one-time act resulted in multiple times of people paying school fees, you know, for my children when I couldn't pay after I left Shell, and then my business collapsed, and then things weren't working. And as I'm talking to you, see, my children attended Loyola, and so the school fees were not small. So at some point, we really struggled, you know, to send them back to school. And then guess what? You know, somebody that I do not know up to today paid off that school fee, paid it off, and then instructed the school not to let us know. So up to today, my children left Loyola long time ago. But up to today, I do not know who paid the school fees. So generosity is a very powerful fundamental of money. And then number 2 money is patient by nature. I'm telling you, you see, you don't plant your corn today and harvest it tomorrow. And money is like that. That's why all these get rich quick schemes, they don't work. They just fizzle out over time. And I've tried so many of them. And all the times I lost money, something around impatience was the $100,000 plus I lost after I left Shell was, you know, to Nospetco and Well Zone, was because they said, oh, just put this money here. Every month we will give you 10%. Every month we'll give you 10%, you know, and that was how that money went. Money is patient by nature. Patient money is powerful. And it actually multiplies faster than the money that looks fast. Okay, looking at our time. Okay, so let's now start talking about how do you operationalize this? All these things that we're talking about, okay? So there's one I call the credit alert test, okay? And I would like all of you to do this because we're talking about solving money problems. And so we are saying that the number one root cause is not enough money. So it means that we have to, if you are to solve money problems, if it is not enough, we have to find a solution to it. If it's low financial literacy, we have to find a solution. If it's sole poverty, we have to find a solution to the root causes. So we're now talking about the issue of not enough money, all right? So when it's not enough, what do? Is to create enough money. All right. So type in the chat, everybody. How many credit alerts do you receive every 24 hours? Everybody type in the chat. If it's 0, say 0, okay? On average, okay, on average, how many credit alerts do you receive every 24 hours? Type in the chat. Every 24 hours, okay? Every 24 hours, you receive a credit alert. So I can see 0, 0, 1, 2, okay, 0, 0, okay. Every 24 hours, like every single 24 hours, how many credit alerts do you get? Okay, 0, 0, 0 there, 0. Okay, somebody has 50, awesome. 0.25, at least 5, 0.0000. That's hilarious. 000. So I can tell, so now you know where your money problem lies. Like when I was working in Shell, it was 0 every 24 hours. And I only got credit alert once every month. So in 1 year, that was 13 credit alerts because they used to pay us 13th month. Can you imagine you building your entire life on 13 credit alerts? And for those of you who are in salaried jobs, how can you build your life on 12 alerts in the year? That's that, and then 0 alert. But you see, if I ask you how many times you get debit alert in the same 24 hours, oh, a lot. Because out there, you buy orange, you buy groundnut, you buy food, you buy recharge card and all that. So 0 credit alert, but several debit alerts in one day. How can you survive? How can you sustain that? So you need to take this credit alert test serious because this is where your transformation should begin. Because right now, the question that should be on your mind that you should write down in your journal, how do I set up my finances so that I will receive credit alert every 24 hours? Reason being that you are only as rich as the number of times you get paid every 24 hours. Write this down and don't forget it. You are only as rich as the number of times you get paid every 24 hours. So the more times you're paid, you see, that's why people who set up a business and then they have a retail store, for instance, and then they have a foot traffic of like 1,000, 2,000 people coming in there. That's why retail stores are doing very well. The margin on their SKUs might be very little, okay? Like they're selling Indomie, 1 pack of Indomie, and then they're getting little margins. But by the time they have so much turnover and so many people coming in there every time, that, just the frequency of credit alerts is critical. So your number one assignment for all of you here is come up with ways to increase your credit alerts, because 12 credit alerts will not sustain you. That's why you're having so many money challenges. That's why you can't pay your bills. That's why your blood pressure is going up. That's why you're having difficulties. Your number of credit alerts are very, very limited. You've got to set it up such that there will be credit alert, more than 1 credit alert in the month. Okay, now I'm looking at our time, and there's still a lot more to cover, but I think we can start from there tomorrow. Let me see if I can cover the money pyramid, so that we can start, because how do we set up? Okay, so we're not just talking about the principle, but then how do we set it up? Because now at least it should be clear to you that the reason you are having so much money challenges is that you're having more debit alerts than credit alerts. And 12 credit alerts cannot sustain you. 12 in a whole year, credit alerts. But I saw somebody in the chat who has 40 every 24 hours. You can't be the same. I saw somebody also in the chat who has 50. And then if you look at that thing, business is involved. And that's another secret. That's another secret. It's not that it's, I'm going to tell you how to grow your business. I have some growth plans for 3 kinds of people: those who are working, those who are starting a business, and those who have established a business. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover all that. So I think that's probably where we stop today, so that we don't rush through the other things. I'm going to cover tomorrow how to increase the income in your business, how to increase your income in startups, how to increase your income as employees. You don't want to miss this tomorrow when we do that. And then tomorrow, we're going to focus on how to recognize a profitable business idea. Okay, so now for reflection today, we have just 4 or 5 minutes left. So you will go to, actually, right now, I'm going to put this in the chat so that some of you can, you can actually do this right away. You don't have to wait until tomorrow, because when this thing is, when it is fresh in your mind, it's very easy to do that. So I put that link where you can go and then put down your reflection, and also do this credit alert exercise. Okay, well, What practical steps will you take to address the 3 root causes of your financial challenges? Okay, so you are going to write that one down. Remember, you normally get a copy of your reflection. So in your journal, you can draw 2 lines on the page and then cross it at the top, and then you have not enough, financial literacy, soul poverty. And then all the things you're going to put in this sheet, you copy it and paste them. All right. So how are you going to address the not enough problem, the root cause of your money challenge? How are you going to increase earning? Come up with brainstorms. What are you going to do about your financial literacy? Because you can never earn more money than the level of your financial literacy. And then how are you going to address your soul poverty, the growth and the prosperity of your soul? Be very specific, put all those things down, people you need to forgive, things you need to do, whatever needs to free your heart and free your conscience. Maybe somebody you've been owing money, and then somebody you've owed money, and then you don't want to pay. Things like that. Because you see, the scripture says that a wicked person borrows and does not pay back. I was into so much debt, 40-something million. And I was owing financial institutions, I was owing individuals and things like that. So what I had to do was write out all my debts and all the figures. And I said, I wrote a scripture promise on top of it, Psalm 23 verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. I put it on top of that place. I pasted it in my bedroom. I was seeing it. I would lay my hands and speak to those debts. And then one by one, all those debts, 10 million to this bank, 10 million here, 2 million here, and all that, 1.2 million to landlord, all those things, I paid them off because I told God, I do not want to be a wicked person. So that is so growth, because you don't want to have, and the scripture said, owe no man anything but love. Don't owe somebody. When people do it in Nigeria, they tell you, terrible experiences. People tell you, somebody just says, oh, please, can you give me this 150,000 that I need to do this? I will return it in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks have turned into 4 years, into 5 years. You can pay it if you actually want it, but you are not paying it. These are things, so list all these things out, these actions you are going to take, and put it there. And then we will take it there from there tomorrow. And then finally, please give me a review. Okay. So I'm going to put this on the chat as well right now. I will also put it in in the Telegram. Yeah. Let people know, what you're getting, and then let other people have access, to this body of knowledge, so that we can grow as individuals, and then we can grow as a community and grow. So please go to that link and then give me a review. Tell people. Don't just give the 5-star review without saying why you're putting. Say how these 5 days of abundance are helping you so far, what you're gaining, just express it, openly in your heart in that Google review. So that's going to be very helpful. And I will really be very thankful that you give me that review. So it is 9:30 on the dot, but if I have your permission, we can take 5 minutes to take 1 or 2 questions. So if you type a question that's really burning in your heart, in the chat, we can take 1 or 2, and then we can continue the conversations on Telegram. You can put your questions on Telegram, and then I can answer them. Chinaza says, is the pyramid similar to Fix This Next by Mike Calloway's or whatever, Mike Calloway's? Definitely not. Nobody has. If it is there, it's a perfect coincidence. It's a perfect coincidence, yeah. So I just created this within this time. Any other question? All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how has today's challenge been to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, please type in the chat. Has today been useful to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, please type in the chat and let us know. Fantastic. Great. Awesome. Perfect 10. Thank you. Right. It's a 7. It's a 10. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you all very, very much indeed. Okay. So as usual, the replay is going to be available within 24 hours, and then you'll get the link. Yesterday's replay is also already on Telegram. And then please engage as much as possible, and also engage with yourselves, because I know a lot of you in this program are very, very, you're loaded. Most people I'm seeing here, very, very loaded. I'm sure you can actually help yourselves. I see Ruth here. I see Inse. I see Berechi. I see Esther. I see all of you. I see Pastor Obi. I see Jamila. I see so many. So network among yourselves. Ask questions. Throw your questions in the group in Telegram, and then get a chance to support each other. And then I'm going to see you tomorrow evening by God's grace. So thank you all very much, and apologies again for being 3 minutes over, and I'll see you tomorrow. I love you all, and bye for now. Thank you.